Hello everyone! We are Archana, Anisat, Jovelyn, Natalia, Shannon and Zenchen, and we would like to welcome you to our presentation and case analysis of the Phillips 66 chemical explosion disaster. So, an industrial incident, a chemical explosion. What happened? So many things can go wrong. Well, sit back, relax, and let's take things from the beginning. Phillips Petroleum, or commonly known as Phillips 66, was one of America's biggest petrochemical companies. The Houston Chemical Complex in Pasadena, Texas, was producing high-density polyethylene, or in simple words, plastic, used in bags, bottles, and pretty much anything around us. On October 23, 1989, while maintenance was being performed, the plant's reactor number 6 released more than 88,000 lbm of flammable material into the atmosphere. In less than 2 minutes, the gaseous cloud ignited from an unidentified source, resulting in a large explosion that killed 23 people and injured 314 more. You might be thinking, that is such an unfortunate event. But what really happened? To understand this, we need to take a more technical look at the incident and examine how a polyethylene plant worked. The production of polyethylene took place inside a thing called loop reactor. When the product was ready, it was collected by 6 settling legs leading to a flash tank. Now, each leg had an air-operated 8-inch ball valve that was keeping the flammable gases from escaping into the atmosphere. This ball valve featured a lockout mechanism and was rotated in the on or off position by compressed air hoses. When the legs were clogged and maintenance was required, Phillips employees were isolating them by closing the ball valve, locking it, and disconnecting the air hoses. Only then would a contractor be able to reach the valve and clean it. The above procedure was not the corporate policy of double blocking and backup isolation that the Occupational Safety and Health Administration was mandating. Instead, the local side has developed its own alternative procedure, as OSHA's regulation was an inconvenience to their operation. On the day before the incident, Phillips employees had prepared the settling legs for maintenance and had hired a contractor to carry out the work. However, due to work priorities on that day, the contractor was not able to unblock all of the legs, so work had to continue the next day. At some point during that time, the air hoses that operated the ball valve had been somehow reconnected and improperly placed in a reverse position. This means that when the ball valve was supposed to be closed, it was actually open. It's also worth mentioning here that the connecting ends of both air hoses were identical and there was no system in place to prevent them from activating during maintenance. Furthermore, Phillips 66 lacked an effective work permit procedure. In the presentation that follows, we will discuss the findings of OSHA's investigation, as well as the methods we followed to analyze the case. We used James Reason's Swiss cheese model to identify the active and latent factors that led to the accident. There is always people behind a mistake, and it is easy to blame the victim. But the Swiss cheese must have several holes in it, such as engineering, procedural, and administrative, for the downfall to be catastrophic. The question is, how can we close such gaps? Well, that's when control measures come into play. We begin by completing a risk assessment of the case to determine the work hazards. Then we prioritize the risks and proceed with risk treatment, which includes putting control measures in place using the hierarchy of controls and reviewing the process. The next consideration would be, how do we put all that under one umbrella of safety, ensuring consistency and making it official and clear to everyone? That's where an occupational health and safety system comes in. According to our case incident, we decide on a type of system, confirm its contents, develop documents and resources, put the system in place, and finally check and improve it frequently. At the end, we will be making suitable recommendations for the Phillips 66 incident case. Thank you very much for listening. We hope you enjoyed our video, and now we'll hand it over to our actual selves to dive a bit deeper into our case study. See ya!